dream to be the best. Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce. Throwing balls, bend the corner, set my mind up on a goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
All right. Welcome back.
Enough of that.
Hit that DG. Hit that DG. Y'all better hit that DG. I know.
Shout out to Big Game Ursik, man.
When you hit that DG, what happened? Hit that DG, what happened?
Bro got a dud.
Yeah, see, y'all gotta make me pull this out. Is this 10 more of these where they came from, by the way? 10 more of these where they came from, all right?
Go ahead and dust the dust out
y'all
that.
know.
You're not even in this thing.
Don't make me pull them out, man.
Man, y'all sitting at home. We're focused on Cancun. We in the playoffs.
We in Cancun too. All right, welcome back, because this is a baseball podcast, but welcome back.
Hit that DG.
Tell the Truth, episode 45 with DG and CJ and D-Mac. And yes, this is a house divided when it comes to baseball, but we all are a part of Chiefs Kingdom. And yes, we were coming off of what was an interesting win out in LA because the Chiefs only know how to play close games. So it's just accept it and understand that that's the reality of the situation. They don't have any other way to win the ball or win the game, I should say. So yeah, a lot to talk about, certainly on a multitude of fronts, to say the least. But I mean, how are you guys feeling this week, man? Chiefs stay undefeated. The last undefeated in the AFC after the Bills got destroyed by the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. The Vikings are the other undefeated in the NFL. How you guys feeling, man?
Happy to be 4-0, but man, losing Rashee Rice absolutely sucks.
Another body down. We win.
Yeah,
it's just winning, but God, Lordy.
Yeah,
but at what cost?
Good to have but injuries suck.
And we knew coming into the season, the only thing that really derail us from winning championships is injury. So I'm not as surprised. It sucks because you never want to see players go down, but we've been very fortunate this whole Super Bowl run the last 5 years. We haven't had any major injuries outside of maybe Mahomes' knee when he missed those 2 games in 2019. So you hate to see guys like Pacheco and Rashee go down, and we're still holding out hope that maybe it's not as bad as we think it is, because a lot of us thought Pacheco was out for the year, and then it turns out he could still come back. So prayers and thoughts are up with Rashee. Hopefully he can still come back and have a chance maybe at playoffs. But, yeah, I hate to see guys go down. But 4-0 is 4-0. You take it.
Yeah, there you go. Let's say the least. And look, like I said, a lot to talk about. There's going to be an entire discussion really centered around the offensive side of the ball, but I did want to start out as far as this was concerned. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball, because once again, the Chiefs had an opening touchdown drive allowed against them, and obviously that led to being down 10-0 after the interception from Patrick Mahomes gave them a short field. But after that, they completely shut down the Chargers. Another spectacular defensive performance, specifically on the ground. J.K. Dobbins had come into the game over in almost 5 yards a carry. I think might have been over 5 yards a carry. We held him to 2.2 yards per carry in this game. They had a hobbled Justin Herbert. They had a team that was without its two starting tackles on bookends on that offensive line, and they took full advantage of it. Jalen Watson with another really good game. Najee Johnson stepped up. Certainly Trent McDuffie was his usual excellent self. Good play from the linebackers, I think, across the board. Some issues with Drew Tranquil in coverage, but ultimately played well against the run, and that was the most important thing. And then Chris Jones was Chris Jones. So first and foremost, what do you got? What stood out to you guys as far as the defensive performance is concerned? Let's give them their roses before we discuss the other side of the ball.
Yeah, man, another good week from them. They just
Jalen Watson, CB2 for a reason.
They hate the first 15 plays, though.
Boy, they be like, y'all. They be like,
they
y'all
can't stand the first
y'all
15 because they teams have. I think have we given up a score on every opening drive?
The Ravens scored an opening drive. I don't think the Bengals did. I think the Bengals have. I think we held the Bengals to 3.
Either way, bro, like they just. I think they. I don't think it's that they come out flat. I just think
adjustments. That's what you told me.
Yeah, they had to adjust a little bit. Spags has to kind of adjust and see what they're doing in first or whatever. But yeah, once they settle in, man, um, it's completely been lights out. Um, Chargers, there was never a point in that game where I really got nervous, especially with us even being down, just because
It was
the
always one
Chargers
possession, so it's just
then the Chargers just you could tell just couldn't move the ball. Like
the reason that we were going to win.
Justin,
DG after halftime, Justin Herbert went to the bench and slammed his helmet.
yeah,
After that terrible half, we were only up what? We were only down 3 points or 3 points going into the half. They did all that. We lost Rashee, and they were still only up 3. He's slamming his
yeah.
helmet. I'm like, bro, they're not winning. Like they're just so mentally distraught. We played awful, and y'all still barely beating us by one possession. So
Yeah,
never
I
got
think
that.
Herbert's injury to me really seemed to affect the game a lot. There was a lot that I think the Chargers just really just couldn't do because he couldn't move, especially out of the pocket or anything like that. And then I think there was one play they tried to run kind of an RPO, and Trey McDuffie just literally blew it up because he knew Justin Herbert's no threat to run in this game at all. So, yeah, man, there was never a point where I was really nervous just because I could tell the Chargers offensively just had nothing for them. I think that they're one of those teams that if they're not ahead, that it's gonna be kind of difficult for them to win ball games, just because of the style that they have to play at this point. They don't really have a whole bunch of receiver that utterly scares you. Lab McConkey had a few good plays. Quentin Johnson was pretty much a no call, no show for the whole game. I think he had maybe one carry and one catch for 9 yards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the defense, man. Shout out to the secondary. I think Jalen Watson has been lights out playing.
What Trent be doing?
Yeah, far better than a lot of people expected him to play. And I told people the whole offseason that he could be the guy to man that CB2 role.
CB2.
Yeah, he put on another good performance, especially against in a physical matchup. I feel like against
Should have
Quentin
had a
Johnson.
pick too. Catch that ball, Jay Watt.
A pick 6 for sure.
That. We need that money.
But yeah, man, shout out to Jalen Watson. I really feel like he stood out to me in this game. Made a lot of good plays out there. And defensive line continues to be what they are. Turk Wharton and Chris Jones are absolute monsters on the inside. They are destroying the interior lines for a lot of these teams or whatever. I feel like FAU put together another solid game as well too. A couple pressures from him, some things you can tell he's kind of starting to turn that corner as well too. So yeah, overall the defensive unit has been amazing, man. They've been great through these first 4 weeks. Hopefully they can continue it, and I think Spags has been diabolical with his play calling. So keep it up.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Get a shout out from me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, you get 3 players with multiple pressures: George Karlaftis, Tershawn Wharton, and of course Chris Jones with 2 of those sacks as well. Blitzers were able to get off. We saw that when the Chargers were backed up at the goal line, Trent McDuffie got that quarterback hit on Justin Herbert. And like Justin Herbert, tried to make some plays and almost made a few of them that were really close. Specifically the one that, J.K. Dobbins kind of dropped down the sideline as well, really comes to mind from that aspect. But to your point, they were able to keep him contained, able to get after him and force him to get the ball out on a consistent basis as well. And also, you guys shouted him out, Jalen Watson. Just an excellent guy. 5 targets, 0 receptions as far as the nearest defender is concerned. Just a spectacular game because that's what Jalen Watson has always done. Well, I shouldn't say always done, but at least done to this point in the season, and being able to be an excellent corner at this point. Him and Trent McDuffie have stepped up as the cornerback duo needed, obviously coming off of losing L'Jarius Sneed, and it's become a recipe for very good defensive play. The run first and foremost, being able to put teams into difficult situations. They haven't necessarily gotten turnovers yet. We saw a few tips that they weren't able to come down with, but to this point, they've been able to play just solid defense, not a lot of points, specifically after those opening drives. And yeah, TJ. It was a field goal from the Bengals, but the other 3 teams had scored touchdowns to this point on that opening drive. We will see how that continues on the defensive side, and there's still some things that need to be worked out. But of course, the other side of the ball has significant question marks coming out of that game. Fortunately, starting first and foremost with Rashee Rice's injury. As of tonight, which is Tuesday night, we have the latest update of him getting a lot of different tests. Obviously, it was an ugly injury to start out. It seems as if there might be some type of partial tear of his ACL at the very least, but there's swelling, things that need to be confirmed before we certainly go there. The initial diagnosis was a torn ACL that was feared, and that's ultimately, why there is a level of pessimism, I'll say, coming out of that win, to say the least. There's a million different ways we can go with this, and we'll kind of get into the long-term ramifications for it. But what were your immediate thoughts when unfortunately you saw him get carted off and just wasn't able to put any pressure on that on the sideline?
Yeah, when you see that cart,
Friendly
never
fire.
good. Yeah,
Friendly fire is the most awkward part. Out of all ways to get hurt, your quarterback diving for a ball when he shouldn't be doing that in the first place, which is the most awkward thing. And Rashee's trying to strip the ball to get the ball back in our hands, and just happened to bang, hit his knee on Pat's helmet, and the rest is history. So praying for Rashee. Hope it's all good, obviously. Hope everything turns out for the better for him as well. Speedy recovery. But, yeah, you just hate to see a guy go down like that who's playing so well this season. Like we've all said, he's been playing like a top 10 receiver. He was, I think, number 2 in yards going into that game. He was balling out of his mind. Multiple 100-yard games, multiple 10-catch games. He already had multiple touchdowns this year as well. There's really nothing Rashee wasn't doing for our offense. So hate to see that happen, but praying he can come back and hope everything's okay, and we'll see where we go from there.
I don't think I've ever really wanted to square up with Patrick Mahomes more than I did at about 3:45-ish on Sunday. He could have met me in the alley of SoFi Stadium, and we could have squared up. Like,
so disgusting. But
why are you
diving on the ground? Like,
I love Pat, man. No disrespect or anything. I love Pat. I just think it was not necessary at all.
Hey, get out the
for
way.
you to be over there trying to. I'm still trying to figure out like what exactly were you doing? Like, like even if Rashee doesn't get hurt, like Pat, just if they take it back for 6, just let them take it back, bro. Like, we live for the next play. You out here diving, and if it's the playoffs or the Super Bowl, maybe I get it, I understand, But it's week 4.
Let that go.
Yeah, like it's the 4th game of the season. If we lose this game, so what? We're 3-1 or whatever. But yeah, just didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me. But I understand that guys are football players at the end of the day, and football is a dangerous sport. We know what guys are capable of out there, and getting hurt is a part of the game. At the end of the day, it's unfortunate for Rashee. Going back and kind of looking at it, he may have avoided something very serious. Just the way that the leg kind of shifted, but at the end of the day, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know a lot about that stuff or whatever. Just to this point, not hearing news on a complete tear, maybe have some hope that it's not season ending. But when that happens and you see that cart or whatever, you always fear the worst. You always prepare for the worst. So we just got to continue to roll at this point without him. And I'm pretty sure Brett Veach and Andy Reid and them and that front office is trying to put together the best plan that they can put together to kind of replace that role at this point. So we'll see where we go from here. But, still think that everything that they want can be in front of them. They're just going to have to change their identity a little bit for probably the 3rd time in Patrick Mahomes' career. So we'll see how it goes from here, man. But I still got a lot of hope for them. They just got to change some things in that scheme to kind of alleviate where Rashee Rice is missed.
And we're really comparing this offense to like where we were at 2 years ago. It's still an upgrade from where we were at, because like this time 2 years ago, we were depending on MVS to be our deep threat, and Juju was our intermediate to short receiver. We obviously had Justin Watson and Miko Hardman and guys behind him. We had our 2 tight end sets with Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. And this is obviously Jody was on the roster, but now we added Jared Wiley. So in our deep threat now is Xavier Worthy over MVS, which I think all of us would call that a major upgrade for sure. And Pacheco will be back, but we got Kareem Hunt in the backfield now as well. So obviously, like, we wanted to have the explosive plays with Hollywood and Zay and Rashee all together. So obviously we won't get to see that for a full season, which sucks. But still, comparing the offense to where we were at 2 years ago, it's still an upgrade. So obviously it sucks. We never want to see a guy go down. But this offense can still operate at the same level they want to. In my opinion, I don't think nothing really changes from a X's and O standpoint. Probably just like the way a tempo of play calling. You don't have to go as much 11 personnel. Go a lot more 12 and 13. But I think overall, you still call your aggressive type of plays. It's just different personnel settings you have to use.
Yeah. And look, I mean, you kind of laid it out as far as what the offense looks like, and the thing that really does suck is it's a thinner margin for error as far as injuries and just turnovers in general, which is something we'll talk about as far as what Patrick Mahomes has to do better. But yeah, I mean, you're in a situation where it's a lot of the same, where you're gonna have to use heavy personnel sets. Xavier Worthy is better than MVS, certainly. There's no doubt about it, and we'll get into him a little bit as well. But you're dealing with the lesser version theoretically of Travis Kelce, a lesser version theoretically of Juju Smith-Schuster, and obviously Justin is about the same. So you got to ask yourself, is there going to be enough here? And that's kind of along the lines of what the next question is. I'll let you guys kind of get into, who specifically, but I mean, Travis Kelce, obviously we know the run game needs to, get up. Xavier Worthy, which one do you guys want to say point blank period is going to have to step up outside of the better quarterback play that we know needs to happen?
My opinion, I would agree that it's got to be both, but I think that I don't think it's a necessary thing of who needs to step up. I think it's going to be a thing of how much trust are they going to put in a rookie like Xavier Worthy at this point. You're going to have to trust him. You're just going to have to lean on him. He's going to have to grow up fast. That's not something that we necessarily wanted at this point, but here we are. Like, he's just going to have to step up and do some things that we really probably didn't ask him to do, necessarily in the beginning of the year. But, when he's got top end speed like this and he can take the top off of defense, this is going up on tape. And a lot of teams are going to start really noticing, hey, we need to probably play off the line, which I think can help open up some things underneath for him as well. And he did a lot of those things at Texas, Sarkisian system, a lot of the underneath stuff that he can run as well. So that I think they're just going to have to put some trust in him. I think Juju is also going to have to step up as well, kind of that power slot, and do, kind of be what you would say the poor man's Rashee race at this point. But we've seen Juju be able to have success in this offense and do those things before, especially in 2022. I know he's not the same player that probably that he used to be a couple of years ago, but they're just gonna have to put the trust in those guys and allow them to try to go out there and make make plays for them. So.
Yeah, and I'm just throwing them up here because I think it's relevant as far as what Xavier Worthy is going to have to do, obviously. And we saw how things ended the game, and we'll have the last game coming up. But to your point, Xavier Worthy's a guy who was, from a freshman year, he was able to make an impact at a major school at UT, playing top-level competition. I think people really underestimate his 3-level impact. I truly do feel that way. And you're going to see this is the ultimately the play.
This is the perfect play call.
Easy mesh.
Like, perfect play call on 3rd and 6. Use his speed to get to the perimeter. And not what I really laughed at was the Chargers went man to man, and I don't know why they did that.
Hey, look, and I understand why, because they felt like they wanted to heat Mahomes up here. They send the blitz, and they play man to man behind it and really just challenge him. Play single eye and hope for the best here.
It got burnt.
They did, and that's the reality of the situation. He has the speed and he has the ability to get off the line.
Asante Samuel.
They sent 6, but that right blitzer didn't even get to his right gap. You see that? On the left side over there by Wanye.
Sante Samuel got smoked off the
He timed his blitz terribly. That's what happened.
Well, look, that's the difference in being taught by Spags and not being taught by Spags.
Like, look where he's coming from. Like, you're blitzing from depth. Like, bro, you're way too far.
6 is blitzing. Oh yeah.
I don't know what he was doing.
So here's what 6 is doing, and this is something we could talk about as well as the offensive line performance, and also Patrick Mahomes specifically. 6 is doing what they had been doing of let's loop around to the opposite of where we may be sending that extra pressure to make sure that Mahomes has to stay in the pocket and can't escape, and getting that late, because they got a lot of late pressure being able to send a guy around the loop, and this is not a bad design. In this case, you're going to send it from the opposite way, so that way it maybe catches Mahomes off guard.
He's too far. Like, he has no chance to get there. Like, you're not even going to impact the play. It's either you should have dropped in coverage at that point. There's no point in you even.
Well, but I think that is part of the design, though. It's a QB spy of sorts, but also a looper to make sure he doesn't get out of contain.
Like a delayed
on a blitz concept, I'd rather you just send you like, bro, just go. Just try to get there, see if you can get your hands up on the ball. Or at that point, you should just stay there and just take whatever comes across. Like, you take either cross or try to take one away. So if I see Xavier Worthy coming towards me, if I'm the DC, anybody you see coming with the field, just run with them. Immediately take that first read away to let our 5-man rush beat them, even though it's 5-on-5 and we would have picked it up. But they see the back go out, so it immediately becomes man on man. I would have just either told them just backdrop, take the guy across you, or just send them. But he, like D-Mac said, he's kind of there in middle land. It's like, well, you just sitting there trying to see Pat doesn't run, but you know Pat's going to throw it. And you have a crosser coming outside, and none of your corners respectfully are going to run with Xavier Worthy. But that's what you decide to do. Go ahead.
And they were banking on it.
Did they use motion? Did they use motion to indicate man-to-man? Or
I think Samaje flipped sides. I don't think it was like a real.
Samaje came out late in the pattern, but it was not motion to start the play.
It wasn't that crazy.
Yeah. And you got to also give the credit to the Chargers. I would say this: they did a pretty solid job at actually hiding that they were going to play man. You see how open Justin Watson is down the field, huh?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I would have had number 6 just stand there and take one of the crossers away. Don't just fake blitz. I'm like, bro, Pat ain't going to, bro, just take their coverage, bro.
Looking back at this, I would think they're not going to 84. So
that's why I would have Worthy. I would have sat there. In fact,
doubled Worthy.
Exactly. Double the main guys. He sat there and like delayed blitz. I'm like, bro, or contain whatever you were doing. It's not going to affect the play. I want you either covering or blitzing. I don't want you doing either one of those two.
Yeah. But to me, this goes to show that they're that trust factor that I was talking about with X. I think that they trusted him on this play. He proved to them that he can be trusted on crucial downs. So dial it up for him, Andy. Go ahead.
Run that in JV. That's a mesh. Slap hands. That's the easy mesh. You run that. Just you come across, boom, boom, pick, first down. And all we needed was 4. Easy work.
Yeah.
And then it's like I said, once X gets to the perimeter and he can get on the outside and that speed, if he gets past you, you're not catching him.
Easy work.
It's gonna be very difficult.
Hey, shout out to Wanye, man. Wanye had a hell of a day. I know it was a hurt Joey Bosa and an older Khalil
Joey
Mack,
didn't even play.
That's what I'm saying. So from what I saw, Wanye looked good to me. So I liked it.
Yeah, it's weird. I will say on tape.
Can't gas up too much, but
I will say on tape, or I should say watching it live, it felt like the offensive line was fine, generally speaking, but Mitchell Schwartz did end up doing a thread kind of after, I should say, I think it might have been yesterday or today, kind of talking about some of the issues that they did. And Mahomes ended up facing, I think it was close to 43% pressure rate. And some of that, in my personal opinion, was him also running into some of those pressures, but also was a very good pass rush designed by the Chargers to make sure he stayed in the pocket. And then some, you got to give credit to them, some one-on-one wins from them. And it wasn't, just Wanye Morris. It wasn't just Jawan Taylor. There were some pressures that were given up by Trey Smith and Joe Tooney as well, that I think they didn't have the best of days from that aspect as well. So you tip your cap to the Chargers and the way that their pass rush plan was built out, in my opinion. But also, I think that there were some aspects of this that didn't go our way as far as the level of offensive line play we wanted to put out there. Obviously, that's Xavier Worthy's aspect of it. I think he's a 3-level guy. I truly do think that there's more that he can bring to the offense, and now he's going to have to for however long Rashee Rice may be out. But CJ, who do you think it is to step up? Run game, Travis Kelce, who do you want to highlight from that aspect?
Yeah, I'd probably say run game, if anything, because we're going to have to take the pressure off. we know we can still throw the football at a high level. And I know 15 will tell you he has to play better, like we said. But the best quarterback's best friend is the run game. So obviously, if we run the football, Kareem Hunt had an amazing opening day, averaged 5 yards a carry. Still looks like the same guy that we saw in KC 5-6 years ago. It still looks like the guy we saw in Cleveland for the last 4 years as well. So a guy that finished runs, he had multiple runs for first downs, caught the ball well. I would have loved to see him get in the end zone just to cap off a great day. But everything Kareem did that we wanted to see, he did that. He ran with physicality, ran with force, finished with his pads, fell over, got a couple first downs, picked up some great blitz pickup at pass pro, which will probably go unsung by a lot of people, but he was great in pass pro for me from what I saw. But he looked like Kareem, man. He was explosive, hit the hole, broke some tackles, catch the ball on third down if we needed to throw it to him as well. So he looks like the guy that we signed when we first drafted him here in 2017. So obviously the long speed isn't there, obviously, from that standpoint. But everything else, he said he's healthy. Obviously, he was dealing with the hernia injury from a year ago with Cleveland. That's why the season ended short. But 9 touchdowns is 9 touchdowns. That's nothing to snuff at. So from what I saw, 29 looked like himself, man. So if we can run the ball like this and keep our offense on schedule, keep us on second and third, and keep us in those medium conditions and short spots, then it'll be good for this offense. It'll help 15, who we know is going to snap out of this funk he's in and get back in his rhythm. It's going to make everyone's job easier. So I'm never really worried about him. I know he's going to get back to doing what he does. But from a running the ball standpoint, if we can do this, and obviously we're getting Clyde back, and obviously Samaje Perine is slowly getting more comfortable in the offense, and Pacheco will be back hopefully in December before the playoffs, I'm fine with what we can do up front. And I know our O-line is going to play better, to D-Bac's point as well. So if we run the football efficiently, that's going to make Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, Juju, everybody's job easier as long as we run the football with force and keep ourselves in second and third and manageable. So I love what I saw on Sunday. He looked good to me for sure.
Yeah.
And that's when no
I was gonna say real quick. I completely agree with your sentiments. I thought Kareem Hunt was explosive. I had leading up to the game that when he was active, I think that he's going to be the best runner of the football on the team, and that's exactly what you saw out there. And after the Carson Steele early fumble, which is a thing that he had an issue with in college, I think he should be relegated to just short yardage situations where he can keep two hands on the ball and get those, very 1 to 2 to 3 yards at a time. But Kareem Hunt should be your primary running back until Isaiah Pacheco's back. But go ahead, DG. Talk to me about what you saw out of Kareem.
So I got an analogy. You ever been up late at night, or you woke up late at night, you had that little last bit of juice in the container, just about that much, but it's just the perfect amount. As soon as you wake up and you got the cotton mouth or whatever, your mouth slobbering everywhere, just that little bit much. That's all we trying to get out of Kareem right now, man. That little last bit of juice. And you saw it, man. Sunday, he looked way better.
It looked like himself.
I thought he was gonna look. And I was like other people. I thought he played sparingly here and there, maybe third downs. He come in and do some pass pro stuff, and and they give him a couple handoffs here and there. But to come in and essentially take over the RB1 role off of just coming off the street and just that's so hard to do, man. 14 carries for 69 yards, and he had a couple of those where he looked like fresh, like he was ready. Yeah, looked like Kareem. Good vision, man. Good, always been a guy that's had good contact balance as well too. He's very hard to bring down. You basically virtually need 2-3 guys to get him on the ground, and I think you could see the trust that Pat has in him as well. You can still see that friendship and that trust is still there between the two of them as well. So I think his role gets expanded. I think he probably blew Andy Reid's mind with how well he looked at this point in time. I mean, Andy usually is
no
a guy
training camp, no reps, no nothing.
Yeah, and Andy's a guy he's not gonna just throw you out there to the wolves, and I mean unless he's just in dire emergency situations. But I think the fumble by Carson Wentz really prompted them to say, hey, we might need to just go.
Great cut, man! Look at that back cut.
Like, see the vision, man. Like
great back cut.
And that's the change of pace that I was talking about in spaces where. Carson Wentz. Carson Steele. I love him, man. I think he's a great kid, and I think he has a specific role for this team, and I think they need to keep him in that specific role. I know fumbles happen. Obviously, when Kareem got here, he fumbled on his first snap, him being here as well too. But I think at this point, this offense needs a veteran back there that knows what they're doing and has that type of vision. This is something I kind of think that Pop doesn't have as well either. Like I've never seen Pop do that, man. Like
that cutback.
and I love Isaiah Pacheco. I love the
We
way
all
he
do.
runs.
But
Love
the
how
vision's
tough
just
he
different.
runs.
Facts.
But yeah, that vision, that balance, that contact balance is different, and that's the change of pace that I was saying that Kareem could bring.
Boy,
to
imagine when
this
they
offense.
get together, boy. December, January gonna be fun.
Oh,
Oh boy, oh boy.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Ooh.
And I mean, you're absolutely spot on. It's a different level of understanding the position and being able to physically play the position, even for a guy that we consider to be past his prime. The ability here to go is it gonna play? It's gonna reload for a second. The ability here to go from what's a run that's kind of opposite B gap to the left side, and then flipping all the way around to outside the right tackle, kind of in the other side of the B, the right side of the B gap, and you're running off tackle to that point because Jaron Taylor is going down. I mean, that's an impressive run and impressive cut. It's 6 yards, but it's 6 yards that a lot of other backs wouldn't have gotten. Carson Steele just runs into the crowd there, maybe gets
like
2 or
1
3.
yard. Exactly.
And that's truthfully, that's the difference when you're on 1st and 10. That's the difference in going into a 2nd and 4 versus a 2nd and 7. That is a major difference, to say the least. So I'm happy to have him here. He's, he did a really good job as far as I was concerned. And he should be the primary back until Pacheco's back. Go ahead, DG.
Absolutely.
No, I was agreeing with what she said. His hunger as well, I think, is something that is definitely needed in this offense at this point in time. You can tell he's just from watching that game. You can tell he's extremely motivated to be back here to try to help this team get to where they want to go. And hopefully at some point in time, maybe this turns out to a thing where we can keep him just like a Jared McKinnon who came in here and we were able to squeeze another 2 or 3 years out of him and be that veteran leadership in this locker room and help some of these younger guys realize what they need to do to get better in this league right now. So I think it's a good opportunity for Kareem to prove that. He obviously seems like he's got his head on his shoulders the right way this time, and I'm wishing him all the best, man. Keep running tough, keep using that vision, and let's go out there and get it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, from this standpoint, we obviously mentioned the run game. For me, this person that I want to mention and give a shout out to, because for the week leading up to this game, we were told that he was washed and his career was apparently over with, and Taylor Swift was a distraction, all things above. But Travis Kelce went out there, and look, without Rashee Rice, and this was to start the game, it felt like this was going to be a game in which he was featured. They didn't have Derwin James, obviously. But they made it a point to come out there and get Travis Kelce going early. We saw down the sidelines with that catch as well, which was a nice big game to start the season, or I should say to start the game off. But look, Travis Kelce was targeted early and often. This here was the interception. Mahomes, in my opinion, overthrew this, and obviously this is going to be very unfortunate.
Just cut it off. Cut it off.
Yeah, just Lord Jesus.
Turn it off.
But he ends. Jesus.
God.
I know. I'm going to skip to it because I don't want to see it again, man. I don't want to see it again. And so Travis Kelce ends up having they're going to force it. They're going to force us to watch
you said you're going to watch this play.
You're going to watch this whether you want to or not.
You're going to watch your
I'm going to reload this because y'all tried to get me. Y'all tried to get me, NFL Pro. But Travis Kelce felt like was going to be featured early and often in this game. They made it a point to get him the ball. And look, he went out there and made the plays that you need him to. And I'm really happy to see that he was able to. Like I said, a lot of people had considered him written off by this point to start out. I mean, it was a lot of talk this week, obviously, about what he was going to look like in this specific game. And all he did was go out there and make a whole bunch of plays. And look, like I said, they're going to have to trust him.
Don't look washed to me.
No, he doesn't. He's going to have to be trusted to make those plays and maybe a little bit more energy exerted than he wants to during the regular season. but we got to use him to make those mismatches. He's got to run those Travis Kelce routes that Rashee Rice was taking over for whatever time that he's going to end up missing some time here. And look, we just got to lean on him. And 87 looked like he was ready for that as well. What did you guys see out of Travis Kelce in the game?
Travis Kelce.
Yeah, the same thing we've seen for his whole career, man. I understand he's getting older, and it's hard to be father time in this league.
And Travis never fast. Stop saying that he looks slow.
Yeah,
he never fast.
bro. Like
outside of the only year he was a rookie year, Trav could run. I think he took a couple screens to the crib from like some short smoke screens. But outside of that, Travis Kelce's never been fast. So stop saying that he don't look slow.
2016, he cribbed one on the Broncos.
Young Trav could run, but outside of that, Travis never really been fast. Like, let's stop that.
Well, I mean, when he was younger, but not recently. Not since like 2019. Not since like 2019. Not since like 2020.
I think great players know how to turn it on when pressure rises the most. And we've seen 80. I don't understand why people don't understand that. Is you see it in the playoffs so many times, man. Like so many times, seeing 87 turn into a god out there, in the playoffs. And I think this game, he realized, hey, I got to be that guy again. She went down. It's time to turn that switch on. And I think the 15 to 87 connection is
Hall of Fame.
It's Hall of Fame, man. It's never
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's something we probably won't see in this game for a long time. I always call them, they always remind me of Steph and Clay when they were, in Golden State going crazy or whatever. They're the Splash Brothers of the NFL, man. Once they lock in with each other and they're on the same page, it's kind of no stopping them. But yeah, I just think that Rashee had kind of gained that trust from Pat, and they were kind of leaning more on him especially early on this year, to kind of give Trav some plays off to he's older, so
man, let Rashee get 100 yards, bro. That's what I'm saying.
We're trying to make sure we can get him to the playoffs as well too. But now of course we got to go to him now. He's got to be our guy. So and if there's anybody out there that understands how to work zone, work man, and run his routes the right way, it's 87. So I got all full confidence in him. I know he may not be able to do some of the things he was able to do at 27, 26 years old, but he's still that same guy. He was never washed. Just you gotta get targets to get into the game, bro. So
a receiver getting 100 yards, that means somebody else is washed. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But nah, that's what I saw on Sunday. He turned into him old self and had himself a game, man. They threw a 9 route to him.
He snagged that bit. And he snagged it. That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you mean wash? Where y'all see wash?
And I want people to see he the corner, whoever
down
was guarding, he cooked him off the line. Like, and he didn't have to be quick with it, fast with it. It's just more of you can tell he's got that savvy veteran presence that he knows. He knows his league. He knows how people are going to play him. He knows what kind of leverage they're going to pay, at points in time. So, he's a vet, man,
Stop doubting it.
He's out there doing
he motioned over. They knew it was an indicator, so he came on this side. I think we got a 2x2 set. A little slide action right here.
Mm-hmm.
Here, low for me. There we go. In the flat, give me that. Bring him in, get a couple yards. That's all we can do. All right, next play.
And these type of plays are just the extensions of the run game. You can clearly tell these are plays when they're trying to get 3-4 yards, make it a manageable second and short, third and short, or whatever. Stay ahead of the sticks. I know a lot of people see those and like, well, why would they throw that? And he only picked up like 3 or 4 yards. Like, I have to understand the full game and what's going on.
2nd and 7, 2nd and 6. What y'all act like y'all don't know football before?
Yeah. You'd rather be in that than 2nd and long.
Absolutely.
A couple yards. I'll take it.
You take them as they come, man. So obviously, like we talked about, a lot of different ways that people have to step up. I think we all agree it's going to have to be heavy personnel sets, like we saw a lot of in 2023 and 2022 to an extent as well, because you just don't have the horses out there. Wide receiver, we're getting a little bit into that as well from that standpoint. But Travis Kelce got to get a little bit more on his workload and actually get the targets because, like we said, he's not washed. He looks just fine. Got to get the ball. Xavier Worthy, a little bit going up to do as a rookie. And we got to lean on the run game, which feels like it has an extra resurgence now that Kareem Hunt is back in Kansas City. So what would you guys like to talk about? Would you guys like to have the Mahomes conversation or would you like to have the wide receiver trade conversation?
The Mahomes conversation.
Let's do Mahomes first.
Let's do the
Yeah,
Mahomes
let's do
conversation.
Pat first.
Pat, be better, bro. It's very simple. Like, be better, bro.
Go ahead, CJ. Lead us off. Go ahead.
The overthrow, I get the concept. Pat, you sailed it. It is what it is. Obviously, he's missed a lot of balls this year. Made a lot of good throws as well. Don't want to rag on him too much, but it's just for his standard. The turnovers are unacceptable. The missing of throws for we're in week 4 now. We're still talking about this. Obviously, we know the bye week is coming up soon. We have the Saints on Monday night, and then we have the Niners, then the bye, or is it Saints by the Niners? I believe so. Yes. So obviously, 15 has to be better. Nobody's going to be harder on himself than he is, obviously, and he says it after every game. I have to be better. I'm going to correct his mistakes, and obviously, he gets the benefit of the doubt being the best quarterback in the world. He's been the best quarterback in the world for the past years now, so it's obviously nothing to scoff at. But it's just the simple mistakes of missing reads and obviously bailing pockets. He's kind of doing those things that we saw kind of in the 2021 season. We were kind of having those issues of like, hey, why are you bailing out pockets and leaving areas when there's ways to step up and step into a pocket and make a throw or just run for a first down? Both of those decisions are always good. There's nothing wrong with taking check downs as well. So it's just little mistakes he's making. He's not really doing anything like out of the ordinary we haven't seen. It's just playing cleaner football. If you don't like a throw it away. There's nothing wrong with doing that. The interception he had versus the Cincinnati game was probably the one that was the most disappointing for me because I'm like, bro, you didn't have to force that. If you don't like it, just throw it away. There's nothing wrong with taking a sack. Nothing wrong with throwing the ball away. You don't have to make every play. And obviously, like DG said, these guys are football players. So they want to win. They always want to make the play, but you don't have to do that every time. There's nothing, especially with the way our offense is built. To D-Mac's point, you may have to take a check down, just throw the ball away, and we'll count that as a win because we can't afford negative yards with the personnel that we have on the team right now at this point. So just play cleaner football. Be yourself. Trust your pocket. Trust your lineman. Don't bail out just because you want to make a play. I know you're trying to overcome the athleticism that we don't necessarily have in the receiver room, but just trust the scheme, trust your eyes, and make the throws we know you can make. And don't try to force things. If you don't like it, it's okay to throw the ball away.
Yeah. God, I wish he was here so he could really hear what I have to say. You gotta stop being so hesitant, bro. Like it's killing you. And I think a lot of it may have to do with what happened last year. And I get it. I understand it. The receiving room was not good. There was not a lot of trust outside of Rashee later on in the year and Trav later on in the year. But if that receiving room's not here this year, and I think you've obviously got some guys that you can trust. Xavier Worthy, I think, has shown you through 4 weeks now that look, you can go to me, you can trust me. Of course, there's gonna be growing pains with him. He's a rookie, don't expect him to make every play that comes his way all the time, but he's shown that on most of the plays, he's been able to go out there and make a play. I think Pat's biggest issue right now is that he's holding on to the ball way too long. And I'm not sure what he's really seeing. I'm not sure if that goes into the hesitancy as well. But there are times where you're looking on film and he's just a tick late on certain throws. There was a play I seen early on in the game where I think he checked it down to Noah Gray, but he had McCole Harmon up the sideline. I mean, it's clear as day for a touchdown if he wanted to go that way. So I think he's having some trouble trusting himself sometimes at certain points. His eyes maybe kind of deceiving him at some point. It feels like he's feeling pressure that's not there. He gets into a lot of bad habits of drifting in the pocket, which we've all heard him say over the years that he struggled with. But at this point, man, you're the best quarterback in the league. We love you. You brought 3 Super Bowls to this city. You gotta the post game stuff of saying it. You gotta go out there and do it.
Same
Like
thing as
I need
last
you.
year, bro.
Yeah, I need you to do it. I don't need you to say it. I need you to be about it. So the mistakes, the turnovers, and I know like there are some times where you just gonna make a mistake or whatever. He's not privy to that or whatever. He's not perfect or anything. But some of the plays are just you look and like the interception that he threw at the beginning of the game was just so dumb, and like there's no way you should sell that ball like that or whatever. And I'm not sure what you're really seeing. I know Andy tried to kind of cover up with him, say that the defender was in a gray area.
You sailed that bit.
Man, you just admit it. You sailed the throw. So
it is what it is.
I'll say it, man. I think it needs to be a point of emphasis that he needs to be challenged as well too. You're the leader. You're the guy. You're the best player in the league. You need to play like it. I know that's a lot of pressure or whatever, but that's the kind of persona that you've put on. That's the kind of persona that Jordan had, Kobe, Tom Brady, all those guys, all the greats that we've seen in these sports leagues. Or whatever. That's the kind of pressure that they take on, and it's expected of them to go out there and be great. So I need you to be great, man. And he's got to get back to that. So find that swagger, find that confidence, and then there are points in time. I'm the last thing I'm gonna say. Just let it fucking rip, bro. Like sometimes it's just throw the ball. Don't overthink it.
It's almost like he's waiting for guys to get open instead of throwing it.
Yeah,
just throw the ball.
And I don't want to keep harping on this, but like when Tyreek was here, man, there were points in times where he just ripped it to Tyreek because he just knew Tyreek's that fast. If I put it down there, he down there somewhere, and you kind of seen that on that play that he threw to Xavier. I think that's the kind of mentality I want him to go back to. Is that mentality of just letting it rip, bro? So love him, man. Hope he figures it out. I know he'll figure it out. I got utmost confidence in Patrick Mahomes, but you just got to get back to that swagger, playing like that guy, that you can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for me, you guys hit on it. I mean, there are so many aspects of it that it's the accuracy right now. It's not having great footwork. It's bailing from some clean pockets, even though to a certain extent in this game, the offensive line wasn't great. And it's that hesitancy. And to your point, a little bit of lack of trust from what happened last year is understandable, but he got it back during the regular season. During the playoffs. So I think that he knows what he needs to do. And to me, I think this is also somewhat on Andy Reid from the standpoint of look what you have right now. You've got a field spacer, a field stretcher, a speed demon out there in Xavier Worthy. To your point, DG, they have to trust him accordingly. That's why I love to see that he actually got to showcase his ability to separate late in the route. He also tempoed that route a little bit on that deep bomb as well, but just separated late down the field. And guess what? He caught it through contact too because his cornerback interfered with him.
He knows
in
how
the
to
end zone
track the ball.
Because that's an amazing skill to have. And it's something I harped on for him that it was going to be a difference maker from these other guys that we've had here, MVS or Mecole, etc. Use him on those crossing routes because there were times in which he got open on those as well. Obviously, we know the drags as well. And use him to be that spacer from that aspect of it. And then also rely on the run game. There has to be a design of the scheme, in my opinion, that comes together to make things easier. And it's going to look a lot like this, in my opinion. You're going to have run back. You're going to have Xavier Worthy out there. You're going to have 3 tight ends. You're going to give the team a heavy personnel look so that the defense is in base. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to play action because you ran for 4, 5, 6 yards on first downs throughout the carry. You're going to give Xavier Worthy emotion. You're going to freeze some linebackers. You're going to have Mahomes be in a set base, say where your drop is, step up, and fire the ball. you know where the guy is going to be. And if he's not there, throw the ball away or run. Those are your two options. We're going to give you some defined reads to get you in rhythm so that you're back saying, hey, you're getting a 3-step drop, you're getting a 5-step drop, you're coming off a play action, you know where you're looking, you know where your eyes need to be. Scanning that full field is going to be for certain circumstances, but it's not something that we're going to have to rely on, because to this point, those are the things that have gotten him into trouble at this point. We need to make sure that you're starting out from a foundation standpoint of quarterbacking. And then once we get you settled in there, we can allow you to be the special player that we know that he is. Because guess what? When he sets his feet, rips it, the throws look like it should. When he tries to kind of read a bunch of people and then kind of have indecisiveness and pumping once or twice, that's when he starts leaving balls short. Shout out to Jared Wiley here, because this was an impressive block by him. And obviously Travis Kelce as well, because everybody says Travis Kelce doesn't block. But yeah, I mean, look, that's how you get those really in between plays, intermediate things that are going to be open because of what Xavier Worthy does, stretching the field, because of the running game presents as well. So that's the Patrick Mahomes convo as far as he needs to step up first and foremost for this offense to get back to what it does. So obviously, a lot came out outside of Rashee Rice, and again, pending, we don't know what exactly the injury is going to be. But the wide receiver conversation, as far as trades are concerned, is something that's been bantied about. We did have a wide receiver in the AFC West today formally request a trade, that be Devontae Adams of the Raiders. Who would have known that the Raiders were not going to have a good year with Gardner Minshew at quarterback and a defense that was wildly variant on the other side of the ball, and a coach that shouldn't be a head coach. I know, like Antonio Pierce made the guys feel good in the locker room for a bit.
They just beat us on Christmas last year.
They ain't spoken
like once upon a time that Romeo Crennel did here in 2011. I promise you guys, we know what that looks like. It's a dead cat bats when you get an interim head coach. He's not fit to be a head coach, and that's the reality of the situation. That's why Devontae Adams is now asking out. And so obviously there's a bunch of rumors swirling about that. So Devontae Adams is not going to come here. That's not going to happen. Raiders are not going to do that. But let's talk about some realistic candidates. Guys like Deontay Johnson, guys like Amari Cooper. Anybody else that you guys want to mention or just highlight, and it could be either one of those two that I just mentioned as well, as far as wide receiver trade candidates. And you could also say who your favorite is.
My favorite. None of them are really my favorite. I think that they're guys that can come in, obviously help and do some things and make an impact. I think Darius Slayton could be an option as well too. Maybe a lower tier option from the Giants. You've done business with them before. And it seems like things are probably gonna go pretty badly in New York. But if I had to pick the guy right now, I probably would lean more Deontay Johnson, even though I don't like the drops. But you're still kind of getting the same thing in Amari Cooper. So it's kind of a pick your poison at this point, you know. I think both of them are good. I'll say Amari Cooper to me is still an elite level route runner in this league. I haven't watched too much on Deontay Johnson as well either, but I know that he can be serviceable at points in times, especially seeing him on Sunday. I think him and Andy Dalton are starting to kind of build a connection. You can clearly tell when he's actually has a quarterback that can actually get him the ball in his hands and stuff like that, that he can open some things up for you. I do think those guys are two realistic options at this point, especially financially for the Chiefs. You know, I know a lot of rumors and people are talking, and I know who you guys want, and it's not happening.
The fact y'all even thinking that is hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about Devontae Adams today. I heard the Tyreek Hill talks.
Social media, boy, ain't nothing.
And like don't get me wrong. Like, I would be head over heels if we got either one of those guys here in Kansas City, but people have to factor in that financials in this also matter as well too. And I don't think Brett Veach, we've seen in his philosophy that he's not going to do a whole bunch to put us in cap hell at this point to just, and I know the history that's on the line. I know people are going to say, well, what about the 3P? Look, the future is what the future is, man. If you want to continue to win, you have to stick to what you've been doing, what's been working for you lately, especially as a late. When John Dorsey left out of here, we were in financial hell because of some of the certain contracts and things and loyalty that he showed to some guys. Brevich has fixed a lot of those issues. I know people don't like that. You can't have it both ways. You can't want Brevich to be aggressive and then want him to also be cheap and fix. It don't work that way. You can't have it both ways. So I think the realistic options, four realistic options to me are Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, Darius Slayton, and bringing in a guy like Michael Thomas and seeing if he's healthy enough to be on this team. So,
not Michael Thomas.
Never thought I'd hear that name.
Not Michael Thomas. I can't do it with Michael Thomas.
Not Michael
But a
Thomas.
version of Michael
We
Thomas
need-
and Juju Smith-Schuster. We don't need.
yeah.
Exactly. We don't need another slow receiver.
Look, I know it.
Also, no, we don't need OBJ. And
Yeah. At this point,
Tony
stop that right now, Noni. Stop that.
I do think that there's an emphasis that you do have to go get somebody just for depth purposes, or bring somebody up for depth purposes, because that wide receiver room is thin at this point. One more injury and we could be looking at a disaster. But I do believe that they have a plan of what they want to do. I just don't want fans out here getting their hopes up that you're getting a premier guy like a Tyreek Hill or a Devontae Adams, and when that's not happening. Christian Kirk too doesn't make sense with the financials as well either.
And the Jaguars aren't moving off.
I would love to have him as well too, but it's contracts like the way your cap space is set up, it's not realistic.
The only one that really makes sense for us would be like Deontay or Amari, obviously because of their contract. Deontay's looking for a new contract after this year. Amari's obviously in the last year of his deal as well in Cleveland. The receiver I said yesterday on our last show would be Donovan Peoples-Jones. That'd be another possible receiver, a big body, a guy that can run intermediate to short routes. Not necessarily a deep threat, but a guy that can come in and be a depth piece. And I kind of categorize the receivers in different ways. If you want a high impact player, somebody to come in and make big plays for you, then you go get a guy like Amari Cooper. You just want a guy to come in and be a part of your offense just to kind of ride the ship and not necessarily tilt everything, but kind of just come in, run your routes, make your plays. We're not necessarily going to have you to lean on you and depend on you a whole lot, but you can come in and be a part of this receiving core. Deontay makes sense. Darius Slayton or Donovan Peoples-Jones, like I stated earlier. Those three guys, one of those three would make sense for our offense. But if we want a high-level player, and it all depends on what Veach and Andy and Pat think of this receiving room. Do you think this group can hold it down, and how long do you think Rashee's going to be out? If you really think we need another high-level separator guy who's a true route runner, then you go get a guy like Amari Cooper. If you want a guy just to be a part of the group and just to come in and make timely plays, then you go get a Donovan Peoples-Jones or a Deontay Johnson. That's kind of how I categorize the receivers for now.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Personally, I mean, you look at just the cap reasons. They're not going to go out of their way, in my opinion, to hurt their cap, and certainly not in the future for what they're looking at from that standpoint. So that limits things, and that means that rules out what is not going to happen, but still would be, a possibility in that case is Devontae Adams. To me, it's kind of two categories. To your point, CJ, you can go out and get a lesser guy like Demarcus Robinson. You go out and get a guy like KJ Osborne, who hasn't really gotten a lot of snaps out there. I also think that Donovan Peoples-Jones would make a lot of sense, and certainly Darius Slayton, a guy that's been productive wide receiver for the Giants and can get down the field as well, give you a little bit of versatility versus zone coverage from that standpoint too. I would not mind from a lesser standpoint. The other aspect of it is one of those bigger moves, and those bigger moves I think is going to require some patience, whether that comes to Amari Cooper, who the Browns have to feel like they're out of it, and that means waving the white flag from that standpoint. But there are financial reasons why they would possibly decide to make that move and try to get some value out of Amari Cooper. We're good on. No, Millie Cross is not going to be the answer here.
My dad was saying that on Sunday. I'm like, Pops.
Well, League Washington.
Look, I know we did the whole training camp thing, but Nico Remigio is not going to be an answer here either. It's just the reality of the situation. Those guys are not ready to be contributors at the NFL level. I do think that you could give Mecole Hardman some more wide receiver snaps. I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. but he also has to make an impact. I can't say that I have much hope for Scott Moore, to be honest with you. I think we're good with that. It sounded like, according to friend of the podcast, Harry Kuntz, that that Brett Beach might also be good with that too. But yeah, no, like, and the other name is that CJ ended up mentioning, as far as Deontay Johnson. That's the one that personally, to me, I like the most. The reason why I like it the most is it is an expiring deal, low base salary, makes sense from a financial standpoint. We know the Panthers ain't going nowhere. I know that they want to maybe act like, no, they're not going anywhere. The wild card is the owner, and will he allow it to happen? But the reality of the situation is, you can go out and get Deontay Johnson right now. He's a guy that they flirted with to get in the offseason. He has the ability to beat zone on a consistent basis. He's always been a separator. Hands do come with a question mark, but at this point, yeah, beggars can't be choosers, and I think he's got pretty good enough hands to play in this team. And he's got some versatility to him. So even as the parts may move, I don't think you necessarily have to change too much to fit him into the scheme from that standpoint as well.
He's younger than Amari too, is he?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
significantly younger. He's still in his last year of his rookie year.
He ain't been in the league that long. Yeah, he's only been in the league for a year.
So I would like to bring him in personally as the guy that I would target. And I think that's the most realistic scenario and makes the most sense as well. And he would fit right in with what we need.
Those are the two best route runners on the market, as far as all the guys we mentioned, like the people we mentioned. Obviously,
not including Devontae Adams, but
I think
outside of Devontae, those are the top two for me.
We were interested. There was talks with them about Deontay Johnson
in the summer. Yeah, it was. He wants a new deal, and they know this is the last year. That's why he took the 1 year deal with Carolina. And obviously, it makes sense if he wanted to move on to a contender, which I predicted when he got signed. I'm like, he's not going to stay the whole season there. He wants a new deal. So he's probably going to try to go to a team who could actually produce and put him on the market, so he can try to see what his value is next summer. And what better spot to do that than the Chiefs? So he's got to figure out the money portion. But no, Deontay coming here makes complete sense. True route runner, a guy that can play outside, inside. Hands are kind of inconsistent at times, but overall, compared to what we need, I think he can come in and fit our offense. The only thing that would be, as far as the knowledge and being cohesive and chemistry with our offense, but from an athletic standpoint, after Devontae and Amari, I think this is the third best option for sure. We had to rank them.
Can I say that too? That just because you trade for somebody and you go get somebody does not mean that you're gonna have instant success with that person.
Gotta build chemistry.
This game is built off of chemistry and flow and also learning the playbook. Like that I don't know if people understand that it's not like Madden where you can just drop somebody in to your system and just run plays with them and think that they're gonna,
read the card.
Get it. Yeah, and especially with Andy Reid's system of how, we all know Andy's, receivers are meant to read leverage and coverage and things of that nature. And there's a lot of offenses in this league that don't do that, so it's a complex system just to walk into and just learn. That's why they brought back a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster. I think that he understands this offense and knows what Andy expects. I think they're gonna have to lean on him as well too. I think a lot of people are forgetting that he might have to be an option here, for the next couple of weeks as well too. So.
Juju.
Yeah, and look, I think that you're absolutely right. There is going to be an adjustment period that comes with bringing in any type of receiver, just in general, especially one guy that has not actually come into the system before. But I do think that for the veterans or the guys that particularly have a feel for the position, like a Deontay Johnson, and obviously as we speak about Amari Cooper, I think that there's a little bit more viability to that standpoint and for them to pick it up a little bit quicker as well. And the other guy that was being flirted about during the offseason was DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I think that his fit is a little bit more constricted because he is that traditional X ball winning down the field. That's never something that we've used. But he is still, got enough in the tank that they may end up trying to circle the block and seeing if they can bring him in as well. All things considered, this team is still 4-0. Through September, they made it out without a loss, and now they're looking at a Week 5 game versus the Saints. But before we get into that, we do have to get into the Week 3 power rankings and how we may want to make some edits. I'll say that as far as these things are concerned. Last week was the Bills, Chiefs, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Steelers, Packers, Texans, and Eagles and Saints. Look, just when you give the Bills just a little bit of credit, man. Look what they go out and do.
Yeah, sorry, Bill.
Lose to the Ravens.
I feel like we should take some of the blame because
Nah, they could do bad all by themselves.
right.
We
Still
was
like
gassing y'all up for
Man,
1 week. Y'all go down
man,
there and get punched
they
on.
got smoked on Sunday night,
Wasn't
man.
even close, man.
Wasn't
Was
even-
not.
Derrick Henry looking like prime Derrick Henry. My goodness, first touch, 80
Yeah.
yard crib.
Yeah, they I think Baltimore has definitely figured some things out, especially now knowing what they have in the backfield. I think they're really starting to lean into what their identity is going to be. Pound the rock, man. Derrick Henry has clearly shown that he's still arguably the best running back in this league.
Still got
you
some
know,
juice
I
left.
know Christian McCaffrey is out at this point in time with injuries. Hopefully he can come back soon. But yeah, to watch that man take the first play for 87 yards, I was like, yeah, he ain't lost. That's a 30, was he 31, 32, 30 or something like that? A 30-year-old man, bro, and he's still cribbing it from 80, 90 yards, man.
Easy work.
Incredible to see. Incredible career for me, man. He's definitely gonna be a Hall of Famer. But yeah, shout out to the Ravens, man. They kicked their ass on Sunday night, man.
Boy, oh boy.
Boy, did they. My God, that's crazy. So obviously, I think we all agree the Vikings probably earned their way into that number one spot going on the road, beating the Jordan Love led Packers and picking them off 3 times as well. They continued to just look very good on both sides of the ball. Chiefs still win, going to stay at number 2. In you guys' opinion, who should be number 3? For me, where I'm leaning is the Lions, because I think that had what was an incredibly impressive and entertaining Monday Night Football win, certainly versus the Seattle Seahawks, who were
he didn't throw an incompletion.
That's crazy.
He was 18 for 18, and then
not only did he not throw an incompletion, he also didn't cause an incompletion because he caught the other pass that they threw.
Bro, Mike McDonald ain't never gonna live that down.
What team finishes the game with 100% completion rate?
As a defensive coordinator, I know Mike McDonald is sick.
I know he was.
He in the meeting room like, bro, he didn't
incomplete
one pass. But when the last time that happened, somebody went 100 for 100 with over at least like what?
With two pretty good young corners in Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. And
boy,
I gotta say, it was
very good.
It was a long night.
Oof, boy, oh boy.
Very long night for Devin Witherspoon last night.
Yeah. It is worth saying they were missing pretty much the entirety of their starting defensive line. I think Nwosu and Mafe are both out. Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy both out as well. So you got to take that into account. Frank Ragnar was out for the Lions, so it wasn't completely one-sided from that aspect. But ultimately, I still think Seattle is going to be a good team for the majority of the season. But last night, Detroit Lions certainly imposed their will. Had a spectacular game from that aspect as well. Number 3.
That backfield too, that backfield is incredible.
I mean, it's the best duo in the league.
Both teams have great backfield, both of them for sure.
That duo is man.
And if Walker, Gibbs, Montgomery, and Gibbs. Oof.
Look, if
Gibbs had one snap, there was. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if you haven't sat down and fully watched the game of Jahmyr Gibbs, do it, because he is incredible.
That boy,
go ahead, my bad, D-Rack.
No, you good. He had one snap. I gotta find it.
That Montgomery catch and run. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Does he?
I mean, he ran over people. And Kenneth Walker ran over people too. But sorry,
both backfields were going crazy. Charbonnet.
Does he remind you guys like I see a lot of Jamal in Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah. Like the cuts,
the power when he needs to.
The power that he can run with sometimes.
Catch the ball.
And then there are points in times, bro, where like if he gets in open space,
it's crazy.
He's gonna make you look silly.
He ain't got the long speed like Jamal, but he's still fast. Like still very explosive. But outside of that, he looks very similar. Very similar.
Yeah.
Then to add the power with Montgomery is
bro. That tandem, that catch and run by Montgomery was so disgusting. It was like a 5-yard flat route. ran a DB over, had another dude bounce off him, and then ran for like another 50 yards. Man,
That game was never close. The Seahawks were in that game.
Bro, I got both those guys on my fantasy team, so I was very happy. But those two together, oh my.
Look, I got
Kenneth
Montgomery.
Walker
I at
is
least
a
had to get
retard.
one. I want to give
Every team. I was like, I need one of these boys
one.
on my team because I know they're gonna eat like that. They just too, and then they got the best line, bro. They just too good. Yeah, Detroit.
I was.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there was one snap where Gibbs felt like he was shot out of a cannon on just a straight up the gut run. But when he gets moving, it's special. I agree. The only thing really separating him and JC is that long speed, but he is a heck of a back, and obviously they have a heck of a 1-2 punch. Montgomery from that aspect. So
like Jamal
number
Larry
4. Number 4, behind the Vikings, Chiefs, and Lions. Do we want to reward the Ravens? Obviously, I mean, and complete destruction of what was an undefeated team coming into it.
They did.
I guess the Steelers lost. I mean, they were 3-0. Can't say them.
Steelers lost to the Colts and Joe Flacco, by the way.
Texans lost too. Yeah, so it's like,
got walked down by Joe Flacco. It's crazy.
49ers won, but it was the Patriots, so it's like, yeah.
And I heard some of their fans say even in that win, they didn't really look like how they wanted
look
to.
all that good.
Yeah,
like they were supposed to. Kind of played down.
I'd be okay with the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens. Cool.
I think that was an utter domination from start to finish. Bills were never in that game.
Beat them down.
If they run the ball like that, they're going to be.
Oh yeah, if you let Derrick Henry get open field, it's going to be a long night for you.
Come December and January. So I said it. I think the Ravens. I think they got the kind of unfortunate luck of kind of having some tough games early on in the year, and they just lost some tough games. They lost a tough game to us. Obviously, came down to a toe. I think their other loss was to
the Raiders at the crib.
The Raiders, yeah, of course. I mean, I think you kind of just let the Raiders back into the game. Unfortunately, and then sometimes that happens even to good teams. You get a little bit lackadaisical, and a team that's motivated on the road comes in and beats you. But I don't hold it too much against them. What I seen on Sunday night was who I think the Ravens really are. Very physical, run the football, and defensively they're gonna come up and they're gonna hit you. So shout out to them, man. I think they're on the right track again.
They needed that win desperately. They can't afford to go down. They would have been 1-4 if they lost. Yeah, they could afford that.
And they got the win that they certainly needed from that standpoint. Dropped Bills to number 5. I think there's no terrible shame in what happened versus the Ravens, but it was their first test, so we'll have their eyes on how they kind of deal with things moving forward. Their schedule will get harder. And 49ers coming in at number 6, I think feels appropriate for right now as they work on just trying to kind of get their footing, get some offensive guys back. Obviously, we know CMC has double Achilles tendonitis now, and both of his legs.
I never heard
had to go to Germany for his treatment, so it's not what you want to hear for an older running back. To
double tendonitis in both your Achilles is crazy. That don't even sound right.
Not a great look. So next up, obviously, we know that Steelers had the first loss. I don't know if I really believe in them to this point. Be honest with you guys. The Packers are 2-2. Seahawks had their first loss. Cowboys are 2-2, which I don't really want to put them in my top 10, personally speaking. We know the Eagles 2-2.
Bucks.
Buccaneers had their.
They did go down there and whoop
they dismantled the Eagles again.
They did whoop up on the Eagles for sure. That did it.
They kicked their ass again.
Made that look real easy.
Yeah, I think I'm cool with the Bucks here, and then maybe
have they beaten them in some years?
When the last time they played them?
So they beat them once, I believe. Like once.
I think the last time they beat them was I think the last time they beat them.
So that was it It was last year's regular season was the last time that they beat them because they was an early game and they really actually got after. Now it was weird. Bowles played a really good game versus Hurts in that game, but they still won like 25-11. But of course, we saw what it looked like in the playoffs when they eliminated them. So
yeah,
Pass all our bid times, to be honest. We're running a little bit long because there was a lot to come out of that Chargers game, to say the least. But yeah, I got the Bucks 7, Titans 8. Anybody want to shout out for 9 and 10? Because honestly, it's kind of scary. But I think we can leave the Seahawks probably in here. I think we can probably.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Seahawks.
They lost to a good team.
Yeah,
Mike McDonald's first game.
They're still 2-2 right there.
Yeah. Prime time.
No, 3-1. 3-1.
Oh, 3-1. Yeah, the first loss. Oh yeah, they go. Yeah, 3-1. We got to put them in there.
Yeah.
The last spot should be that we can't put Dallas or Philly because they both lost, I guess. Steelers, they're 3. They let lose. Yeah,
Steelers. Even though
they were undefeated.
I don't believe in them offensively at all. But defensively, I think that they've been good. Over.
Actually, no, we tripping, Commanders.
Oh yeah,
the Commanders deserve. Yeah, I will say that. I will continue to say and point out
that the
left hand up.
The defense is awful for the Commanders, but that offense led by Jay Daniels deserves to get a shout out here. So I'm cool with putting in them at number 10.
Jay Daniels, say it right.
He's gonna be special.
Boy, oh boy.
If you bet on Jay Daniels to win Rookie of the Year, it's looking pretty good, to say the least. So with all that being said, the Chiefs do have a game coming up this week on Monday Night Football. Saints are coming to town. The Derek Carr return, as I'm sure Chris Jones is always extremely excited to see Derek Carr come to town. The guy that Patrick Mahomes has the most wins against in his career from that standpoint as well. The Saints, of course, coming off of what was a tough loss, to say the least, to the Falcons. It looked like they were kind of in control of the game, and then things did not end up going all that well. I'll say that much. From that aspect as well. So, I mean, I'd love to say that there's a great deal of evaluating here, but I think there's a lot of kind of variance in what this could look like. I could see the Chiefs having their early season stinker and getting blown out. I could see this being another really close game and the Chiefs pulling it out, to be honest with you. I could see those two. You guys tell me which ones, you guys favor from the standpoint of, hey, what's up? Go ahead, DG.
Yeah, I would like to sit here and say, the Chiefs are gonna come out Monday night and be prepared and hyped up and ready to play and and dismantle this team. But I kind of expect them to not do that. I kind of expect them to possibly sleepwalk maybe through the first quarter. The Saints, do some stuff to kind of wake them up, and then maybe it turns into a little bit of a game. I just think that right now it's tough figuring out what you're going to do with that receiving room at this point. I would like for Andy and them to like I said, show a lot more trust in Xavier and what he can do underneath. But I for some reason, I just don't have the expectation this week, especially. I think I might say this for the first time on this show. This might be a trap game. I could clearly see the Saints coming in, especially off of, two very tough losses, motivated, ready to play. Everybody's always up to play the Chiefs. There's always everybody's Super Bowl or whatever. At this point, we know what to kind of expect. So I fully expect the Saints to be ready to play. And hopefully we can make Derek Carr look like how he's normally looked against us, especially in Arrowhead. I think he's only won here once, so hopefully that pays a little bit of dividends. I do expect Spagnuolo and that defense to have a good game plan put together. I think that they've proved this year that they can stop the run, which is something I know the Saints want to do, obviously, with Alvin Kamara. We know how special he can be. So if they can shut that down early on, I think that's something that can kind of help the Chiefs offensively stay in the game. But I just don't have a lot of expectation for them to be fully focused and prepared offensively for the Chiefs. So we'll see, man. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm just getting those trap game vibes with this one. So we'll see.
You're always going to get at least one, so might as well get it out the way now. And we got the bye coming up, so I could see guys looking ahead. So it wouldn't shock me, but it is Derek Carr, so I can't really have too much faith in that guy ever. He never really played well in Arrowhead, so it is the Saints. Obviously, a lot of their defenders, Demario Davis, I think, missed the first start ever for him for his tenure with the Saints, outside of like a COVID game. So that was crazy to see. So hopefully he doesn't play, but if knowing him, he probably will try, but we'll see. They've had a lot of guys injured, like Tyrann Mathieu probably is not playing this week. I know Willie Gay broke his arm, so a lot of Chiefs fans are going to be sad not to see him on the field. And Colin Sanders has been in and out the lineup as well. So overall, the Saints been dealing with a lot of injuries. Their offense had that explosion the first couple of weeks, well, given the fact they played the Panthers and the Cowboys, which is nothing to snuff at. But overall, the Saints haven't really been looking like the most explosive team. But obviously, you still got Alvin Kamara, you still got Chris Olave, and obviously Shaheed missed some snaps last week. So they still got guys that can make plays, but you can never really put too much stock into Derek Carr because it's Derek Carr. For however how bad we'll play BG, at the end of the game, if the ball's in their hands, I'll fully expect Derek Carr to mess up because that's just who he is, especially playing in this atmosphere, in this crowd, and this energy we have with our defense. Guys are going to be locked and loaded. They're going to be ready to go. So the defense may come out slow like they've done the last 4 weeks, but they may lock in after that because nobody scores on us after the first drive. So I fully expect us to come out and play good football. I highly doubt we'll blow them out unless Derek Carr just decide to throw picks or pick sixes. That'd be nice to see. But outside of that, yeah, it'll be a close, hard-fought game like most of them are. But I think we'll separate at the end because I think we'll kind of find our identity, run the football, play good team defense, and go out there and try to get a turnover or two. If we get a couple turnovers, then we should win this game comfortably. If we don't, then it'll be closer than it needs to be. So,
yeah, like I'm concerned about it from the standpoint it does feel like a little bit of a trap game, and I think it's going to be dictated by the ground game. In the games in which the Saints have struggled, the opposing teams have not allowed them to run the ball effectively with Alvin Kamara from that standpoint. If we can repeat that success on defense, I think the offense can do enough versus what is a good at times, but also still shaky because of some of the pieces that they've lost on that side of the ball, Saints defense. So if you're able to stay ahead of the six and run the ball effectively on your end and be able to not allow them to dominate you on the ground like you have continued to do throughout the start of the season, I think you put yourself in a really good position. But it's got that stench on it that feels like it's going to end up being a trap game. And maybe it's a little bit reverse psychology on my end. And I'd happily be wrong about that from that standpoint. But before we go ahead and get on out of here, maybe probably a little bit too early in the week. Be on the lookout for CJ's best bets as we kind of get through it. But let's talk about maybe, one X factor, and then we'll go ahead and give a prediction and get on out of here instead of a best bet for this specific game.
X factor. This may sound lame. I guess this is kind of a lame answer, but I think the Arrowhead crowd. Derek Carr struggled with it before. Arrowhead on Monday night, should be rocking. 4-0 team, I would feel like that the stadium would be packed. I need, we need y'all guys to be loud, man, loud and proud and ready to roll, man. I think if the crowd can really bring it, it's for some reason Derek Carr just does not like playing here.
He really does.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if he sees ghosts when he walks in here or whatever, but he just does not like this stadium at all. And of course, like he wouldn't tell you that or whatever. Obviously, he's a pro and a vet or whatever. But I think the X factor could be the Arrowhead crowd. What was the other part you said too? And game prediction?
Yeah, game prediction.
I don't know, man. I don't want to say the Chiefs lose.
It can go so many different ways.
The game ends in a tie.
We can blow them up or blow them out or win by 3. It's just
No, we're not blowing them out. I know for a fact. You know,
I
Yeah.
know for
I guarantee
Hey,
it
bro,
that we
yeah.
are not blowing the Saints out.
it's
I
only
guarantee
because
it.
it's Derek Carr. Like he can mess around and throw a pick six, and they will be like, "Oh, well, that's a possession right there." Then we score again, and next thing you know,
Yeah,
it's
but they
14-0.
gotta catch it, CJ. They
That
didn't
is
do
true.
it last week. You
Bro,
got to catch it.
what if they do it?
Jalen Watson.
And Mahomes got to not throw it back to him, and Carson still
That
got to
is
not
true.
give it away to him too.
We got to stop doing that. We got to stop turning the ball over. It's so disgusting. Score prediction. I think they got the Lions been moving. I think it's 4.5 or 5.5 now. It's probably gonna move even more. We'll see.
It's gonna go down.
I'm gonna go Chiefs 23, Saints 13. No, I'll give them 16. Chiefs 23, Saints 16.
The line is currently at -5.
That makes sense.
I don't have no prediction. Just win the damn game, bro.
Win the
Win
game.
the game.
Overall, just
Figure
win.
out a
Don't
way
lose
to win it.
anybody
I don't
else
care how
and
we
get
do
hurt.
it. Just win.
Yeah,
Win the
I don't
game.
care how we do it. Just
Don't get
game.
anybody else hurt. It's
No
specifically
injuries.
not hurting your
God.
own daily.
Please, God.
And get into the bye week with a win.
Just get to the bye. Just get to the bye. That's all we need to do.
I think I truly do believe an X factor in this game, especially the way the Saints have kind of been running their offense. You're just going to have some really good play from Shamari Connor in the slot. I think he's going to be physical. I thought he did a solid job versus the Chargers. I don't think that long catch by Lamb McCarthy was specifically all on him. It was just, I think it was really good play design, but you gotta have some really good coverage out there. We know the corners are going to do that. But he's got to be physical in the run game to be able to stop some early downs, and he's got to be really good covering the ball and force Derek Carr to double clutch on some of these plays. So I'll say that's my X factor is Shamari Connor coming up this week. Give me 20 Chiefs, 17 Saints. I don't know, 16 Saints, 15 Saints, 20 Chiefs, 15 Saints. There we go. That's where I'm going to land on it. Just say right down the middle.
To your bye week. Get the win.
Get the win. Don't hurt your own players.
Please,
and
God.
Get to the bye week intact and go ahead and reevaluate from there from that standpoint. Yes, and Chris Jones needs to have a spectacular day. I will also say that this Saints offensive line can be had in pass blocking. I want to see another dominant defensive line performance as well. I thought Felix was fine. I thought he was good versus the run. I need to see more pressure coming from his side. George Karlaftis, I think, had his best game of the season. Need to see more of that. Tershawn Ward and Chris Jones continue to dominate from the inside. But all that being said, fellas, anything else before you go ahead and head on out of here for the Saints and Chiefs clash in Week 5 on Monday Night Football?
Join the Bet the House Discord.
Bet the House, baby.
CJ's bio. I'm probably gonna put it in my bio as well too.
Tap in.
Yeah, man. Tap in, man. We've been doing a lot of winning over there. CJ always has good plays. I feel like I have sometimes some good plays.
We gonna make some cash.
But yeah, man, we definitely try to make you some cash or whatever. And it's just a good place to have some fun, talk ball or whatever, talk bets. Just
make fun of KU football.
Yeah,
also,
make fun of
boy, oh boy.
Do that as well too. But yeah, man, just come over and tap in with us. Join us, man. We do all sports. Major League Baseball playoffs is going right now. WNBA, NFL, we cover it all. So you can tell somebody's bet at anytime soon, any sport over there. So come over and tap in with us, man.
Bet the House Sportsbook. Tap in.
All right. Make sure you guys be on the lookout. Thursday night, the Kingdom Cast fellas are going to have a special guest, Mr. Bayou Bun. I'm sure you've seen him on Twitter. One of the most visible Saints fans on that app. You'll be on the lookout for that show coming up later on Kingdom Cast, later on Thursday night as well. With that being said, man, get well soon, Rashee Rice, regardless of what the injury it is. Praying for your kid. And other than that, man, Chiefs stay undefeated. Going into Monday Night Football before the bye week.
Let's go Royals. Let's go Royals.